Hey, I am in Will Stewart's studio, and this is kind of a behind-the-scenes shot of really what this studio looks like. And Will is going to come on our podcast, but I wanted you to see Studio A. Will, what are we in? Tell me about Studio A.
Yeah, this is a 3,000 square foot soundstage.
Very
soundproof,
cool.
sound treated, and you may have noticed the little screen behind me.
Right, this thing's massive.
It's an LED wall that's as big as a house, so it's 40 feet wide, 15 feet tall.
Wow.
And you can shoot Hollywood movies on it if you want to, or more importantly, if you got people that are experts in a field, they can come in and they can be anywhere they want to be, and you can brand it any way you want to, and it's a lot of fun.
It's very cool. So we can look up online, 98 Central, and see actually a lot of the TV commercials y'all have done in here. Yeah. And of course, they look like you're outside, driving. You have, like, you have a bay door, you pull cars in here.
You'd never know.
No.
It's so much fun.
It's such a trip. So this is really cool. Thanks. So every month we get to shoot a podcast, and it is y'all's podcast, and we're going to have Will and Jen on. We've already had Jen on, so now Will is showing us the Studio A, and I just wanted to show behind the scenes. This is so super cool.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Cool. Thanks, Will.
Yeah, man.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Businessology Show. We have a special treat. You already know this if you saw the last episode. It is with the partners who own this joint, this studio. And if you didn't know, we shoot our podcast in a studio every month. We've been doing this for a long time with the company, 98 Central. And I had Jen Blair, the COO, in the last month talking about really back of the house. Now we've got the creative mastermind, Will Stewart, the founder, with us in the podcast studio.
What a pleasure. It's great chatting with you.
Welcome to my podcast studio.
Thanks. I like it.
Yeah.
This looks nice.
This is
I
yours.
love what you're doing with the place.
This is yours.
Yeah. This is great.
So Jen, COO, you're CEO, and I've known you for a long time.
We go way back.
Way back.
Yeah.
And the story is you saw I Like Breaking Bad, and you put me on... Who's the dude's head in his underwear? The shot in his underwear.
Yeah, Walter White, that classic shot. Walter White standing in the desert, pistol in his hand. He's in his underwear. Photoshopped your head right on it.
And we've been working together for over a decade since then. So
amazing. Apparently that worked. I got your attention.
Well, what does that say about me? Put me in underwear, I'm signing up. I'm a client for life.
I love it. That's so good.
No, that's good. So no, this studio, this facility is so beautiful, so wonderful. So we did a little walkthrough of what y'all call Studio A, which is kind of this mind-blowing room full of thingies.
Yeah. So much tech.
Screens, so much tech.
Yeah.
So I wanted people to see a little bit of behind the scenes. With Jen, we saw a little bit behind the scenes of the podcast bays that we're in. But I wanted to interview you and Jen in different ways. Hers is kind of back of the house. Yours is front of the house. Yeah. So I'm going to focus on creativity and selling that.
Love it.
Which you are known to be highly creative. That doesn't make you weird, I would say. It's just you're highly creative.
It's not the reason I'm weird.
Right, exactly, yeah. But so what I know of videographers, I did this with Jen when I called them videographers.
Right, yeah.
Is a guy with gear, a bag, a light, come to my office and, shoot a thing.
Right.
And that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
And you did that. Mm-hmm. But then you kept going, and boy, you turned it into like a huge building that we're in with bays and studios and team. Did you mean to grow it into this? Was that on purpose, or were you trying to figure out your way forward to become what you are now from that?
Right. Yeah. This was the plan. It really was.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. So
cool.
I for a long time was just, like you said, a monkey with a camera, just kind of, going where the wind took me, just a carny, and got to travel, both in Greenville and across the country, doing all sorts of really fun things, filming national spots for, major companies. But then I got tired of just kind of the lone wolf type thing where you just don't really have someone to collaborate with. Mm-hmm. We would bring in big crews for the shoot, but then once the shoot's over, it's just, me and my camera.
Right.
And my camera doesn't really talk to me.
Right.
And so it's just, so that was just kind of like the world I was doing in the freelance. And I needed a team. I wanted people that weren't just contractors who were, waiting for me to give them a task to do, but someone who could be inside the company, helping me push the company forward. So, March 2020 started the first, got the first employee, and that's when we kind of like grew into a real company then.
Wow, very cool. How did you know? Because Julie and I work with you and Jen.
Yeah.
Julie is a lot like Jen,
right?
So. And I'm a lot like you.
Yes.
So there was a time, I mean, I remember my story very, very decisively, and I've shared it a lot, where Julie came in and it's like, oh, this is a mess.
Yeah.
Let's clean this up
Right.
and make it into something that will become a business.
Right.
How did you know you needed a Jen, or did you hire her first and go, will you help me with some stuff? And then go, oh, you can do more? That's how it was with Julie. Or did you know Jen was going to become a bigger part of the foundation of the behind the scenes?
Yeah, no, that part was unplanned completely.
Okay.
So I knew that I was a little erratic and creative. And so as erratic and creative people, we're more shotguns than sniper rifles.
That's right.
And so for me, looking at it, I needed someone who was in our industry, we call it a producer. So producers is someone who's like a producer for a video, and they're taking care of details and a lot of the emailing back and forth with clients. So she was doing that, as well as launching and helping us launch our social media, part of our company where we're helping people with their social and creating strategy for that. And it wasn't until we started working together that I was like, oh man, she's really good at keeping the trains running on time. And she's one of these people that she doesn't ask for permission to fix things. She just sees problems and starts fixing them, which I absolutely love. Yeah. So she just started finding all these problems, and I thought I was doing great. I thought everything was just, we're humming. We joke about one thing. We had a client's a folder and file structure. We had different clients' names, and I was pretty good. Like I'd have the year, and then I have the name of the client, which was not bad. Now it's kind of a mess if the client works with us more than once in that year, but it's working. Well, there's one client where I couldn't remember their name after when I was ingesting the footage and putting it on my computer. But I remembered that part of the shoot, we filmed these cups of pudding. And so literally the name of the folder was Puddin. Not a G on it, just Puddin, Puddin. And she doesn't let me live that down.
Yeah.
So,
well, do you know what's funny, Will?
Yeah.
Jen told that same story on the podcast.
Are you serious?
Yeah. This was not, so if you are listening and you just watched Jen tell the pudding story.
Yeah.
Because I was asking her about organization.
Yeah.
I was like, what did you fix? She's like, there was no file structure naming device. And I'm like, really? What's an example? She's like, let me tell you an example.
Yeah.
I'm like, we'll name the file Puddin.
Yeah.
She's like,
no G.
That's where we found.
Jason, I think I scarred her a little bit.
Well, she shared the story.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, dude, when she first came on, I was so excited because we had a desk for her. And I got a computer for her. I was super excited. I got a computer desk ready to go.
Right.
Everything. She showed me the picture that she took of her first day in that office. It was a little windowless room, and I'd forgotten to get her a chair. So it's literally just a desk and the computer sitting on top and no chair. So
well, that's here's this big organization you've built.
Yeah,
it's
awesome. We did it together. But it was once she started growing, once we started growing, and she started kind of taking over more stuff. It wasn't like she was grabbing reins of power, but she was just I got to fix this. I can help you with this. Right. It was actually you and Julie who said, hey, do you know something happening here? And I think there could be some synergy and whatnot. So y'all started talking to us about that visionary integrator model where you have kind of that crazy person, and then you have someone else that's holding the kite down solidly on the earth. And that's the role that she fills very well.
Yeah, very cool. Well, cool. Well, you're solidly a creative person. You've probably been that forever, as long as you can remember. But how do you sell creative services to clients? Because your clients are not necessarily all creative.
Right.
They need a freaking commercial.
Right.
They need to buy something from you.
Yeah.
How do you transform what you can do for them into something they do need to buy?
Right.
Makes it practical. Or how do you push people past their own beliefs and limitations and push them to what may be creative, but even uncomfortable for them at times? How do you sell creative services like that?
Right. So what you don't do is a lot of times what I try to do, which is get into the weeds of what you know and really go into your expertise and really talk about all the nerd stuff. Because what people are looking for is they're looking for a solution. They really don't care what the solution is.
Okay.
They just know that they need whatever the metric is. I need more people on my website. I need more people to click the green button on my website.
Right.
I need more visitors in my company, more lead sales, whatever that metric is. That's what they're looking for.
Okay.
And the way they get there, I mean, they don't care. I mean, if it's someone that's juggling outside on the street corner, they'll do that if they believe it's going to be the solution.
Yeah.
I think a lot of creatives get really married to the thing that they're expert in, to say like, oh, this is the solution for everything.
Okay.
This is how it's going to fix your life. Yeah. And that may be true, but you can't just tell somebody like, oh, you need a video.
Right.
It's got to be a very specific application to solve the problem that they're wanting.
Yeah.
So for a lot of us, for a lot of times, it's taking a big step back with our clients and saying, okay, what's the objective? Who are you actually talking to, and what do you really need? And starting from there, because if you can get a foundation of consensus of this is what we want, and this is the direction we want to go, then you can start building, okay, what's the creative things that we can do around that to actually help you achieve your goals.
Okay. Well, and you've told me before, some clients will come with the problem, and some come with a predefined solution.
Right.
And do you sell differently to them in different ways? Because if they think they know the solution, I guess it's hard to pull them out of what they think they've already decided is the solution.
Right. Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
So it's a negotiation. It really is, because we're really fighting on their behalf. Because to be a creative, you have to be a trusted advisor, and you have to be someone that's it's a very. I mean, there's some witchcraft involved. You know what I mean? Like, there's no like clear, you do this is guaranteed to happen.
That's
right?
right, yeah.
And so when you're talking about like branding and marketing, sometimes people will come with a solution. They say like, or they'll come with something that they feel is concrete, but it's actually kind of vague. So they'll say, I need a video. All right. Well,
that's a lot of things.
Yeah, is this video on the web? Are we doing a full-length documentary that we're going to put on Netflix? Are we doing something, a social media, really quick, kind of video? What kind of video? But it all, like, whether they come with a solution or whether they come with a problem, it's all about going back to the very beginning, which is who are you talking to? What do they need to know? And how are you going to fix their problems?
Yeah. Do you have to pull back and because there's probably so much you want to do with a client,
right?
But you have to make sure you're solving their thing. But you're like, but we could do this and it would be so cool. Yeah. Like, do you have to pull back even your own creativity and desire for what you want to do with them?
Yeah, all the time. Okay. Yeah.
That's rough.
And it's not something I had to, it is. It's terrible. I mean, that's the part I hate. Because, big ideas guy, I'm, for those who know Working Genius, I'm an ID. So it's like, I come in, let's just blow the doors off this thing and figure something really out that's really cool. But you have to wait to the right place and time and then go ham. So it's about knowing the problem I think that I faced, and probably many creatives do, is that big ideas are good as long as you have a direction of who are you talking to, what do they need. If you don't have that, you can fall in love with a big idea that actually won't serve your client at all.
Right.
And you can, I can sell it to a client. I mean, I can wave my hands enough and talk in really excited motions and words and get them all on board. But if it's actually not going to help them, then what's the use in that?
Yeah. And then I guess to build a company that's become a company with team and this big building and these studios, you have to sell enough stuff that's just buyable. Right. Clients can just buy this stuff over and over. Right. Or you can't really scale a business on trying to get clients to do the biggest, baddest, coolest thing all the time. Right.
And that's the thing that we've faced as we scale is growth is expensive. Yeah. And when you're growing, you have to have the capital to get to but if you have all this bespoke kind of creative work that you're doing for people where you're having to create a custom solution for them every time and a custom way that you have to fulfill their work every time, it's really hard to scale. Yeah. So we've had to find, okay, what are those services that we can provide that are repeatable, that you can put a process in it. A lot of times I talk to the team about let's have a boring business. And I don't say about the creative spot let's not make that boring. But we need to know, okay, when the work touches this area of our company, that these 5 things are triggered and happen, and then it goes to the next person, and no one's wondering, okay, what do I do next? Yeah. So trying to put systems around something that's highly creative is really difficult, and there's that tension that you feel between the two.
Yeah. Which I guess you do need that tension, right? Yeah, something that's so unknown that you're selling does have to have the tension of things to tie it down into something that really is valuable.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out, okay, like how do we limit creativity to actually meet our clients' goals too?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, we want to blow the doors off of something, but the client doesn't have the blowing the doors off budget,
right?
Or blowing the doors off was just kind of just really excessive. We're nuking an ant here. So like, what are the things that we need to do that actually just fixes what the client needs, charges them a fair price, and doesn't bog down our team in the process?
Yeah. So do you have two sides of your business? There is a recurring side, right? We use a lot of the recurring side, the podcast page, just the post edit, just constant social media, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a recurring type service. Yeah. The other one is a bespoke TV commercial, which could be months and months, I guess, to build. Yeah. Do you stay in one side or the other, or try to stay out of one or the other? Or
I'm on both sides. Okay. For me, at the very beginning of the recurring clients, a lot of times, because I'm the one who's also in sales, so I'm helping clients get the vision of what can be. Yeah. I'm usually in that first meeting to help launch and figure things out and kind of figure out general directions. Jen takes a lot of that, even though she's very much, in our operations, she's incredibly creative. And so she helps lead the team who does all that work. So on the recurring side, that's been super helpful for us to kind of be in systems. Clients know they're showing up at a certain time, certain day. We have certain meetings, and we don't have to keep learning the client over and over again. On the one-offs, that's where I'm solidly in those one-offs that are just kind of like big bombs that come to our company and take a long time, like you said, to service.
Yeah. What is that like when you get a client that's an offsite? I want to say you go shoot a movie, because y'all can do things all the way from documentary to a commercial to recurring podcast studio where I don't get to see you all the time.
Yeah.
What is that big stuff like? That's probably what a lot of people are interested in, because that stuff you are super good at that.
No,
like leading and directing a huge video movie production kind of thing. You've done that a lot, and so that's really something you're really good at. How do you start something like that? I know this is a big question. I don't even know what question to ask.
Yeah.
That's just so big. How do you, if somebody says, I do need to do a documentary, we're funded, we're going to do it, and so it's going to take a couple years, what's the first thing you do?
It's like eating an elephant. I mean, you just started the first task, whatever that is. So it's we'll do we can go into documentaries. So we've done 3 so far, which I didn't really intend to do documentaries, but we've done 3. We won an Emmy for one of them.
Wow.
But
that's crazy.
It's like, okay.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
That's huge.
I tell my wife I'm an Emmy award-winning director. She's like, I understand that, Will, but you still need to take out the trash. She doesn't give me a break at all.
Take out the trash.
I'm like, man, okay. All right. So, but yeah, for projects where it's a 2 or 3 day shoot, it's really, clients' eyes are all on this thing. We have talent, we have locations. It starts with pre-production. So we're looking at, not only are we looking at the creative, once we figure out, okay, what's the creative direction for this thing? What's the script for this thing? We can get through that. Then we give it to our producers who are looking at it going like, oh, well, in the script it says you need 5 talent. One's a 50-year-old man with a limp. One's a 30-year-old woman. We need 2 dogs, 1 cat. And so they start looking at it and break down all of the things, the props that are needed, the outfits that are needed.
Crazy.
And there's so much detail that goes into that because you're thinking about, okay, what's the client's brand colors? Do we want the people to be wearing that? Or are we wearing something different? Are there any colors we shouldn't wear? Like, do you have a competitor that has a really strong color in that space that we want to make sure that doesn't happen? And then you're looking at locations, you're scouting locations, you're asking client to approve all that. Then once you get all of those details, then it's the day or the days of the shoot, and you have specialists that come in. So our team will expand. We'll have our core team that are there in certain positions, but then we'll have people like gaffers and grips and first ACs and camera systems, all these different, kind of Hollywood titles.
Yeah.
They're specialists. They just come in and they do the thing. So I have a guy from Tennessee. He's my Steadicam operator. And it's this contraption that you put a camera on top of, and he can walk around and it floats kind of in the air, and it's great. It's a beautiful thing. So he gets on. His name's Brian. Brian comes in. Shout out to Brian. He comes in. He sets up his camera, and then we're off to the races. And you have your script. The more planning you do, the better. You have a script, and you're just like, I love it. It's so busy, and everybody's coming at you with questions, and
you thrive in that.
Gosh, it's so much fun, and there's so much that's going wrong too. Because no matter how much you plan, like you plan for something and then somebody, does something and you're like, oh man, we got to fix that. And,
Right.
and you're showing to the client like you're super calm, but like inside you're like panicking. You're like,
Yeah.
are they going to find out that I'm a fraud today?
Yeah.
This is the day.
Right. This is the day. Yeah. Well, I mean, but a shoot like that, I mean, a million things could go wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, the more actors you have, let's say you have 10 and 2 of them get sick and they're the main stars, like you're screwed.
Right.
You shut down production for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we say our contingencies have contingencies. We have contingencies for everything.
Yeah. And the director, which is the role you would take, is just at the top of that. Really, is that a strategy vision role going, what's next? Where are we? How can I anticipate? And that's day of stuff. It's like, hey, the caterer they got to eat because I got to shoot this next scene.
Right.
I mean, you're thinking about all that, right?
You are, but you have people in place. It's kind of like a company's run. You have people in place that are responsible for certain things. It's very regimented. It's like it's almost like a military kind of operation where you have like just lieutenants and all these people just like filter down.
Yeah.
So a director will talk to the DP, which is called the director of photography, and that person is over the camera, lighting, and then they talk to a lot of different people. So you go to the DP and say like, I want to look like a sun. Sun's coming through this window, and I want this kind of thing. And we're going to, you start doing that thing. Like the director's sitting. It's not just a.
That's cool. How do I do that? Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Oh,
there you go.
Come on, I did
the
it.
Will's film class right here.
Boom.
Yeah, there you go.
Boom,
You could be a
people.
director.
I did it.
You too.
I just directed.
Yeah, it took a few seconds.
Listen, people.
Yeah.
You see what I'm doing?
Buy my course. So you do the hand motion. You want to move here, and you do that sort of thing. So and then you leave them. And then they go, and then they talk to the gaffers and the grips and everybody else, and everybody's like doing their thing. And then you're walking over to the client, and you're saying like, hey, we got 2 actors that got sick, but don't worry, we got these other people. We're going to do this thing. This person just threw up over their outfit. Okay, and then you have producers, and those are really help you stay on time. And you have script supervisors that are watching the script, make sure like everybody's saying it like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
And the bigger it gets, the more specialists you get that are just staying in their lane and watching everything.
Yeah. Now, so how do you, because I know you are a director and you've done that a lot. How, as we kind of wrap up here, how do you teach other people that kind of creativity? And I don't know, maybe a director is, no, I'm just kind of a CEOing a job, but I like to tap into your creativity. How do you help a client see something that's creative that they can't see on their own, and then you teach a team to do that? Like teaching creativity, that's got to be difficult.
It is the final boss for, I think, understanding your craft, being able to teach it. And I think that's for anything. It doesn't matter.
That's true.
To me, if you're an accountant or whatever it is, you have to know your skills so much and so well that you can articulate it to somebody else. And, as much as creativity is like kind of witchcraft, like I said before, where it kind of feels like you can't really define it.
Yeah.
There are people who are, bent toward that already. Yeah. And so it's not a matter of taking someone who's a potato and turning them into, something else.
Right.
But we have so many creative people here in our company who have done incredible things. So it's a matter of just kind of maybe refining it based off my experience. So for me, a lot of times I like trying to help let people shadow and watch and observe, and they start seeing, and then it's start giving them opportunities to, do it themselves and give feedback as they're going along. And a lot of times it's working while talking. So I have a tendency to not teach very well. I just don't. I don't. Sometimes I'll just be like, let me figure it out. But I realized it was very selfish of me to do that, and that's been one of my goals this year, to really try to stop. And teach. And so it's talking while you do sometimes. It's just like, hey, I'm doing this thing. This is why I'm doing this. Okay. And then even when it comes to like technical things like, script writing or, figuring out the shots for a script, we'll do a lot of screen recordings and I'll like share screen recordings with the team and say like, hey, this is why I did this. And this is what we did. And so it's just finding any opportunity you can, not just to not waste what you're doing and try to communicate, okay, this is why, and the reasoning behind it.
Very cool. Yeah. So as you're doing the high level creativity things you're saying you're learning to speak out and walk through what you're doing in your mind, but saying it out loud. Yeah. And that kind of shadowing is a great way to teach that really unknown creative process, that black box kind of thing.
Yeah. And my team has called me out so many times. They're like, "Will, what are you doing? You need to help us help you." And so I've been so grateful for it, because there's times where I either assume people know, or I'm just like, I'm just going to do it and just kind of get in my head. But slowing down. I have it on my whiteboard, just reminding myself to slow down, to teach people, but then also let them do it. And that's, you get a better team. Sometimes it feels like it's slower that way, but it's actually very much faster in the long run. Yeah,
in the long run. Well, it's a short-term, long-term thing, right?
Sure.
If you're building a company, that's investments, short-term, which is slower, and it gives you better value long-term.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, as we wrap up, we've kind of talked about, a number of aspects of your business. What are the places you need to keep moving out of for it to keep growing beyond you?
Yeah. So as a CEO, someone that is in trying to, work and grow this company, it's funny that the bigger you get, the less you get to do the thing that you started the company to do.
Yeah, it's true.
Which is a common, problem.
Yeah.
And so I do love getting on set, and I do love working with the team as much as I can. But that's something where, training the team and getting everybody completely shored up to where I don't have to necessarily be in the day-to-day of working in the company, but doing more working on the company. So strategy, figuring out building relationships, business development. Those are all the things that are going to help grow our company and help us sustain what we have and then get bigger.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, well, cool. Well, Will, welcome to your studio.
It's nice.
Thank you for coming into your studio with me today.
Made it so cozy. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you like it here.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. So thanks for trying to walk us through what it means to grow a creative business. That's super tough, and I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on the Businessology Show.
Thanks for having me.